Hello, how are you? Amanda, Monday Morning Makeup Live. I'm moving the time to 8:30. It's just hard to hit 8 o'clock. I'm always late, so 8:30 it is. 8:30 now, starting last week. Oh, what a weekend. We're gonna do our makeup. And I did work out in my Perfect 10 last week, which is the liquid foundation that I like to use. I'm wearing a new top and I don't like it. But I did work out in this and it held up super good. I will say when I do events, like I had 2 events this weekend, and I went with Saint for both, and I feel more comfortable going into it. Good morning, Lisa. And as you guys get here, love for you to say hi if you're on the rewatch. But I do notice that when I do events, I do prefer the way that Saint wears. I feel a lot more confident. Good morning, Roseanne. And I feel more confident in not needing to check my makeup as much as I do Saint's the best. I like it more. I like other makeup. I like Saint more. And yeah, so I've been playing with the collection with Benefit, and I'm gonna say, I don't know if it's because I just have really high cheekbones. Good morning, Pam. I get a lot of transfer with all but so far FanFest, but I let my 10-year-old wear mascara this weekend. We had my sister-in-law's, good morning, Deb. We had my sister-in-law's bridal shower this weekend, and my daughter wanted to come. My other daughter wanted to stay home with Dad. And so we got dressed up, and I let her wear a little bit of shimmer on her eyes, and I let her wear mascara. I put the mascara on, and I used Bad Gal Bang. It did not transfer and fall out on her. Her lashes are naturally long because she's a kid and hasn't damaged them, but she wears glasses too, and so it was really, really pretty. Okay. Hi from Wisconsin. Oh, it was our anniversary. My husband let me get for my gift a new halo. So I finally got a new halo. So it pops off and pops on so it doesn't pull my hair out because I'm trying to grow it out. Okay. Hello, Mesa. All right. So I will say for me, Bad Gal Bang does have transfer. I just noticed it smudges a little bit. And good morning. But for my daughter, it didn't. So it's a really good one. All right. I still like FanFest. I think I want to go and get a full-size tube of this one. I'm going to go into the last one today, and I'm going to save this one for my daughter. She's not allowed to wear makeup, but she does have an occasional time where she can wear makeup for events and stuff. So today we're going to go into the one I've used before, and it is They're Real by Benefit. I strongly recommend getting this set. It was really fun to play with things, and it introduced me to a new mascara that I really like. So today we're going to use They're Real. I know it's a good one, but I kind of want to see how it goes against the FanFest because it has been a long time. All right, we're going to go in. We're going to get started. Now that people are here, I'm going to do my makeup. If there's anything you want to see, the 50% off sale, the last chance items are still going all the way through July, and it's great, but sad because once these are done, they're done. They're not coming back. I do feel like, don't quote me, I've been wrong many, many times, the powder illuminators, I feel like they may come back as an eyeshadow. So, thank you so much. All right. All right, sorry, I'm reading a comment. I've learned to kind of read comments before reading comments because you never know when somebody's going to be a butt. Anyways, good morning, Alice. All right, let's see. Where's everybody from? I am just putting on my eye cream. This is my favorite morning eye cream. I always try to start my Monday lives with these because the little doe foot is metal and it feels really good and it helps with puffiness. It's caffeinated. There is a link in the description of today's live. Please subscribe, please like, please, I don't know if you can share on, I don't know if you need to share. These are always long. My Monday lives are always long. And this is from Beauty Society. I love their skincare. I sell their skincare. Yes, it's an MLM. Put that out there just in case you're an anti-MLMer, which I think is weird. So yeah, good is good. When something's good, you tell people. If you're telling anybody about a good restaurant and what appetizers you like, what your favorite drink is, you're doing what an MLMer does. You're just not getting a return on it. That's what I like. Okay. All right. So we're going to get started here before we have to start digging into some weeds. Hi from Alabama. Oh, I lived in Louisiana for a little bit. That was different. That was like a different country. It was the deep south. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to start with my eyes. I always start with my eyes. I always recommend starting with the eyes. And hold on just a second here. This is a makeup channel. I always like to say that. This is a makeup channel. I talk about makeup. The world is not burning outside or inside of my makeup channel. And so I always keep things with makeup. I'm not going to talk about anything else other than makeup. I talk about my stuff. If you know, you know. This is like my therapy. My weekly therapy. And that's that. All right. And I don't have time for nonsense meanness. So if you're just mean, I just delete you. It's fine. And if you're harping on something weird, I do delete it. Okay. Anyways, Shadow Sense by Senjens. If you like wearing darker eyeshadows, and that doesn't mean like dark eyes, but if you're putting on a darker shadow, you're going to get fallout. Powder falls off of brushes. We know that. If you've ever dusted, you know that. And so if you do your makeup first and then you do your eyeshadow, it's going to mix in and it can make your under eyes look darker. So you're going to do all this work to correct your under eyes, and then you're going to go biff it up by doing your eyeshadow next. And so then you don't know why the concealer is not concealing. And it's not that it's not concealing, it's your eyeshadow has fallen into it and it has made it mixed in, and it makes them look darker. And so doing your eyeshadow first gives you the ability to clean it up, give your eyes some lift, and adjust your shadow placement a little bit. But it also helps give you a more youthful finish because it's not mixing with your makeup. All right, going in, I want a good primer. If you're going to be doing an event, I just did somebody's makeup last week, okay? I don't recommend this, and I said this to her too. And she had me come do her makeup, and she goes, I need this to last to tomorrow night. I said, what? She said, I need you to do my makeup. I'm going to start getting to it so we don't take forever. But she had me do her makeup, and she goes, I got to do my podcast. And so I did the makeup because she does a video podcast. And so I did her makeup for her podcast. And then she's like, and then I'm going to fly to New York, and I'm going to go and see my friend's show on Broadway. So I need what you do today to last to Broadway tomorrow night. And I just kind of stared at her, and I was like, I wish you would have told me, because I don't always bring the primer, and I didn't that day because it was a very last minute thing. Anyways, so getting a primer that could potentially last is this one. This one is the one. Your eyeshadow, your makeup will need touching up, and that's why I told her, I go, take your makeup. You're still going to have to touch it up. This is makeup, not magic. I go, but this eyeshadow will stick. So it worked. I even checked in on her the next day. I'm like, how's the makeup? And she sent me a picture, and she's like, great. And it's funny, but yes. All right. I am good, Kayla. I am good. I got through the weekend. That was my big thing. I kind of shut down for the weekend. We had a celebration of life for one of my very good friends' cousin, and so I set up the celebration of life after the service for her. And so it was a heavy Saturday. And so it was hard, but I better laugh instead of crying. I want to laugh. I don't want to cry. I don't care what it is. If you come to me and you're crying, I'm going to be like, I don't know what to do with this other than pull you out and try to make you laugh. Like, I had somebody tell me this week, and they were like, I had a really hard day. Oh, it was my cousin. She was having a hard day, and she was like, I was like, why didn't you call me? She's like, because I needed to cry, and you're not going to let me cry. And so for the service, I was very much like, we're going to keep this positive. Like, I did know the girl that had passed, and she would not want everybody sadding all day. So I was we made it great. And we were like, what are we going to do? I was like, we have to have great music. So we put on a playlist that I had made for our class reunion because I graduated in the 90s. So we had this 90s playlist that I've had for 10 years. And I was like, just play this on Spotify and we're good. And it was awesome. Like Salt and Pepper was playing. It was such a good playlist with some of the music that played, and it got people stopping and laughing, and I highly recommend it. But yeah, so we set it up, it was great, and then the next day I had a bridal shower, and so it was like ended on a high note, which was great. Okay, so let's do our eyeshadow. I had somebody ask how I set up my triple decker palette. So I'm going to be using Saint Makeup. This is one thing you will not get from any makeup out there. You are not going to get 80% pigmentation from any makeup out there, and you're not going to get 80% pigmentation at $16 to $20 a color. You're not going to get those two things together. You might get one or the other, but not both. Okay. I can make a list. Great event planner. Yeah. I can make a list. I'm not good at checking off my lists. But I do feel like you can take one plan of an event, tweak it a little, and make it work. It was great. I also had some really good friends. We were all three together during the day. And then when we were done setting up, I went and I got us a bottle of champagne, and we had ourselves it was a dry event. So we had a little champagne before everybody got there to relax ourselves. Okay. Oh man. So yeah, it's hard. It's so weird to say. It was a really fun event. And I think she would have really loved it if she could be there, she would have had a great time. The only thing we didn't do that I think she would have loved was take more pictures. There were so many beautiful pictures around, and I'm really bad at taking pictures. All right. So somebody asked how I set up my palette. My big rule is powders stay separate from your creams. They're gonna flake off, not necessarily even break, but they dust off. So you don't want them mixing in. All right, so my top layer is always my main face. This is everything I use on my face. Yes, and my palette is not your palette. So if you want to get a color match, message me. Again, please subscribe. There is a link to get color match, to shop anything I'm using. There's links for everything. But my top layer is always my face. So these are my skin tone colors. These help with everything. This is my contour and my bronzer, my balm. I use this all the time. The balm is the bomb. And then everything magnetizes in. And so it's so easy to click out, click in, and customize this. And then these are my correctors that I use all day, every day. Like these two right here are what keep my makeup on all day. It's not even necessarily the Milk Hydro Grip that I like to use, but using something really light and dense does help hold something super creamy on top. If it goes on like butter, it will melt like butter. It's makeup, not magic. Keep that in mind. But 80% pigmentation means that these tiny but mighty, there's a new makeup brand out there that was created by Saint artists to make another MLM, because Saint is no longer an MLM. It's an affiliate program. Make sure my name is at checkout if you're wanting to support me. But I keep my top layer this. So what do I recommend for a lip gloss for daily use? I prefer lip oils than lip glosses. Lip glosses are thick and sticky, and I don't like them, but Saint has some really great lip oils, and they're scented, not flavored, but they're scented. Chai is one of my favorites, and Birthday Cake, which I think Birthday Cake is only available with points, and there's another, yeah, this one, oh wait, this is Marshmallow. There's a lot, and I don't even have all of them here, but these are their lip oils, and they're so good. I keep them in my car, which is why I don't have one with me at all times, but because these are tins and they go on like butter, they melt like butter, so a hot car is a hot car. Center consoles are awesome, keep them cool, but this guy right here in the middle that looks at that pink shimmer, this is Birthday Cake, so pretty on the lips by itself. If you're needing a touch up in your car, this is what I had, and you can get it with points. So as you purchase with Saint, every dollar spent earns you a point. And so I want to say this one's $100. There's a new one called Sprinkles, and it's pink, but it goes on crazy sheer, but it is stunning for summer. And so I like Saint's lip oils as far if you want a gloss. I also like the Lip Whip. However, I just think it's too overpriced. Okay. I don't know what, okay, so here, hold on. Something cheaper, e.l.f. e.l.f. has really great lip products. So if you're wanting something that's a little more affordable, e.l.f. Let me think. So I don't find Saint to be super overpriced. I find it to be reasonably priced. There are some things that no, but the Lip Whip definitely is overpriced. There's quality products out there. But e.l.f., if you're ever looking for something on the affordable side, I would go e.l.f. I find them to be really comparable to Saint. Their brushes are really comparable. If you're not wanting to get a Saint brush, go and do that. Okay. Anyways, we're going to go into the eyeshadows, but on my, sorry, I keep getting sidetracked. Okay. What about e.l.f. Revival Lip Oil? I haven't tried it. I want to actually go and look at all the e.l.f. stuff. The closest Ulta to me is an hour away and poorly stocked. An e.l.f. brush. I had one. I don't know where I put it. I might have given it to somebody. What I would recommend doing, it's more about the shape of the brush. You always have your phone with you. Go to the e.l.f. section and pull up the Saint brushes. You're only going to get a one-ended brush with e.l.f., but you can find similar brush shapes with e.l.f. And it's all about the bristles. You just don't want to use natural bristles with any cream makeup because it'll break them off. All right, so face on the top layer. My second layer is always my lip and cheeks. These are pretty much what I always use. I always keep a couple glosses to go on top of anything. And then I always have Renaissance here. That's my favorite lip liner. I used to use the MAC Half Red. They discontinued it. This is the dupe. It's also less expensive. These are $16 a color. So if you're wanting something that's affordable, $16 for your foundation, and everything in here is foundation. We're going to get into it. And then my bottom layer are my powders. I just fill it with eyeshadows because I can use some of these shimmers as illuminators, which is why I think the illuminators are going to come back. Okay. Hold on just a sec. Okay. So we're going to put on our primer. We've put on our primer. I'm going to go into my brush here. This is a BK Beauty brush. I think that they're expensive. I only have these brushes because somebody challenged me with a small eye and that our brushes are too big for small eyes. So I bought the full $70 collection of small eye brushes, and they're not smaller than Saint's brushes, but this shape brush was if you're a girl from the 90s that did their makeup, this was the only shaped brush. I'm going to use my hair so you can see it. The only shaped brush in town. It was great. Okay, so I'm going to go into one of these three colors. I keep all of these together. They're so good. These are all pinks. There's Paris, which is 50% off right now. We've got Mama, we've got Pup, and we've got Cupcake. And so I'm going to go with Paris because it is 50% off right now. And it is such a nice, light and bright, good summer base. But I also like to use it if you don't like shimmers as a pop. And I'll use that today. I don't know what anybody's wanting to see for colors. I know I had a request for a latte look, and I just tagged them in an old video. Latte is just brown on brown on brown eyeshadow. But Paris is just a really nice base, and it keeps things light and bright. And then I'm going to go into Drift. This is this champagne shimmer color. Also really great, and I'm going to pop that right under my brow. I like having a soft shimmer, low fleck, really finely milled under my eyes here. You can also get Starlit Illuminator. It's also half off right now, and it's going away, but I do think it's going to come. There's no way that can't come back. The illuminators are all 50% off right here. This one is sold out. So we only don't get Goldie, get Georgia. Goldie will be broken when you get it. It's just too soft. I've never been able to put it into a palette. I've never received a solid one. I've been wearing this makeup for 5 or 6 years now. I've never received one unbroken. It's always come broken. So get Georgia. I might want to use that one today. This is such a pretty perfect gold. And then we've got Glamazing. If you are a bride, you want to get Glamazing. If you are a bridesmaid, you want to get Georgia. But Glamazing is a standout bright. If you see those Pinterest eyeshadows with that beautiful shimmer. That is a color like Glamazing. It's so, look at how pretty that is. That's what takes, I love putting this with a cool brown, like Trust or Kohl. I did a bride's makeup once, and this we popped on with that, and it was so pretty. Loved it. And then there's Starlit, which is more of a fine milled. It's not as chunky as these ones, and it has flecks of pink in it. Do you see that? So pretty, but bridesmaid. That's a bridesmaid, not a bride. Unless you want to be subtle. I do have a bride that was very much into the terracotta colors for her wedding, and we did the Georgia gold on her, and I put this not just on her lids, I put it on her collarbone, I put it on her shoulders. I like those for brides more than the cream illuminators. They're just not punchy enough. Okay, I'm gonna do a lip stain because I love them. They're $12 off of Amazon, and I'm gonna do the color Nude, and it is, I like nude. God, it's so hard to see these. I'm gonna put this on now while I do my eyes. Okay, and I like to put this on while I do my eyes so that I can take it off for when I'm doing my face. So I'm gonna look weird. We're gonna see, but this stuff is on Amazon for $12. I do believe there is a link for it. Nude is right now the most popular color, and it does sell out, but it's almost always available. I have a lot of them, and Nude so far has been my favorite. I tried the mauve, and it just pulls very, very dark on me, too much, but it goes on crazy, crazy dark. I don't have lip injections. I like showing things without those full lips. So we're just gonna put this on as a liner, and then I'm gonna show you how we fade it down so that if you're ever going to an event, so I did this for this weekend, I don't touch up my makeup. I'm really bad about it. You don't have to be super tidy with this, but I wanted my lips to last. So I always have a stain base underneath, and Nude goes on dark like this, but it comes off very nice and light. So we're gonna get that lined on, and then we're just gonna pull the edge down. So it just has kind of an undefined line at the bottom, a little bit, like that. Then you can touch up the edges if you're wanting. You can pop off a little bit. I don't recommend a whole lot. And I wanna get some new ones for fall, because fall's gonna be here before we know it, and fall is my favorite season. Okay, I love summer, but my heart is in fall. Okay, now we're gonna go and do the bottom. This does go on quick and easy, but I talk too much. But I don't think anybody would want to be here if I was just sitting here quietly doing my makeup. All right. Bringing that out. I always fill in the outer corners, and then I just keep reloading. I see people do this, and it goes on in a way that I watch people put it on, and it's so tidy. I'm like, how did they do that? I think it goes on pretty messy. And then again, just fading that edge. And then we're gonna do our eyeshadow, and then when it's done, I think the longer it sits, the deeper it gets, but every color I've gotten, let me pull them all out. They just pull really dark. Coraled goes really orange on me, and it's like a pinky orange, peachy, I don't know, it's bright. I like it. I don't like it as a liner. I actually did Nude, and then after I peeled it off, I put this in the center, and it was a really pretty ombre together, and I might do that today too. But I thought they went really well together. I just wouldn't paint one on and the other at the same time. So I'm gonna peel this off, and I'll put Coraled on. I've got on Nude, and then there is Mauve, and I'm telling you, this can, if you're susceptible to picking up pigment, this will look really dark purple, and that's just not for everybody. And then I have Pinked, bright pink, pulls very dark. I've had them all pull very dark. Nude is the only one that isn't crazy dark. So I'm very excited to try the fall color ones, but it's June, I'm not there yet. Okay. Oh yeah, I have a hard time. I don't love the pumpkin lattes. I always add vanilla. I always want a vanilla. I love myself some peppermint too. Anyways, okay, let's do our eyes. I'm gonna do colors that I think, I'm gonna do what I did this weekend because I thought it was a really nice soft look. for events. I did it the same eyeshadow for the celebration of life as I did for the bridal shower. I just feel like when you're not the focal point, you don't want to go bold on the eyes. And so that's what we're going to do. All right, so the eyeshadow brush is what I'm going to use today. All Saints brushes are double-ended. Actually, I'm going to switch and I'm going to do this the blur brush, because this brush is 50% off and it's the same as the eyeshadow brush, except this end is a little bit bigger. Okay, so we're going to go into Leo, which is 50% off. I wish I had my computer with me so I could see. But we're going to go into Leo. Leo's my favorite transition color. I think it goes with everything. I'm going to zoom in. I'm a big zoomer inner. So if you're new, I zoom in because my skin is skin. I got stuff. I've got darkness around my nose, darkness under my eyes, discoloration, hyperpigmentation, scarring from acne. I got stuff, and I have pores, and I have troughs, and I have texture, and skin is a texture. I don't do Botox yet. But I like to show my skin because a lot of people, a lot of makeup influencers, and I follow a lot of them for ideas on what I can do. They use a beauty filter and it really trips my trigger because they put their hand in front and then you see this soft filter kind of like pop off and pop back on. And I don't do that. Anyways, I don't necessarily have hooded eyes, but I do talk about hooded eye techniques because from the front, I don't look hooded. And I get a lot of hate on that when I say I have hooded eyes, so I've stopped. However, I do have this heavy droop. Like it comes down as one big old piece right here. But from the front, it doesn't look as bad as it is until you turn. And that puppy's almost hitting my lash line. So I do like to talk about hooded eyes because out here, I bring this transition color up really high. And another great color is just above. So I have Leo that I'm putting on now, and then there's Claire, which is another really great. I recommend Claire because a lot of people get scared of Leo. I recommend Claire in every color match. Claire, Drift, and Oak. And Drift I popped up here, then I'll put Claire right here. And I don't have my stomach growling. Anyways, no, I don't know what that is then if you're hearing that or you're just being a turd bird. Okay, so we're taking that Leo, we're gonna bring that up top, and I'm just trying to give some lift. That's one of the things that I like to do is, that was my stomach. Maybe I am hungry. But anyway, I am losing track of my thought now, but I always like to bring my color out past my outer corner and pretty straight across, but it does help give lift. I'm 44. I'm going to be 45 in the fall, and things just aren't where they used to be. My jowls, my eyelids, my cheeks. And so anything I can do to add lift, I do. And adding this transition color up high up in this top area, so good. Okay, the next color I'm going to go into is, I believe, pomegranate. And it was so pretty. Yes, it is. And I want to say that's on sale. I want to say it's on sale. It's this color right here. It looks really dark. I'm going to grab it with the brush and I'm going to put it right here. Right here. And I have to really, I can't wink on this eye. I can do this over here, but this side, there's no help. So I tip back. And I always start this on the outer lid, and then I'm going to push this up and out, and then I start sweeping at the base of my brow bone, and it goes in towards that Leo color. And this is why I like doing my eyeshadow first, because if I start getting fallout, I can blend this way too far out, and then I can clean it up with my makeup. Okay, hold on just a second here. And then we're just going to keep that going. I really should have eaten something before I did this because now I'm like all sensitive about my stomach. Okay, so we're going to pop this out and up and over just like that. And then we're going to rest our brow so that we can see where everything lies. Because if you do have hooded eyes or have a heavy droop like I do, that color can get lost in that fold because we're not walking around surprised all the time. Okay, and trust me, eyeshadow always will look like crap until the rest of your face is on. Always. I'm telling you, if you're ever like, my eyeshadow doesn't look like yours, it always looks like a mess. Are you judging it before the rest of your face is on? Because sometimes you need mascara, sometimes you need your face. it's kind of like makeup can make your hair look better. I'm going to use the more dense end here. We're going to grab it. I just touched just a bit, and I'm going to push this up right here. And if you have a lot of lid movement, tap, tap, tap. It moves it just fine tapping. And if you can't wink, squint. Use that fluffy end, give it a little blend. You could pick up a little more Leo if you want to help blend it together. Really pretty. And then if for some reason I did somebody's makeup and she just felt it pulled too orange, I took Pup, this little light brown, and I swept it over and it mutes it down really pretty. Okay. The weird comments, Alice, they're always here. I'm also in a different time slot. I usually start at 8. I started at 8:30, so it does throw me into a weird thing. I do try to delete them as they come, but they're always here. And usually when they start getting really thick, I ask for my usual people to hop in and say hi, and it usually pushes them out. Anyways, we're going back in to that pomegranate, and we're just going to pop that right there. And it always starts looking dark, but then you just start moving it and blending it and pushing that over. And I hold my brush up and down and hit that base just like that. Just like that. And we're going to be adding some colors and toning things down. And then you can take whatever's left on this bottom brush and sweep. But I like blending out too much so that I can clean it up, and then it kind of hits right where I want it to. But eyeshadow always looks a little funny. So here's what I was talking about with Paris. You can take that Paris, which I used as my base. My nails are jacked right now, so just be patient with the way that they look. But you can take that Paris and tap that over, and it punches it up, and you can have it as this, or you can go into a pink color. This one's just a little more chunky than I like. What color is this one? This is what's nice, having them be able to pop it. This is Sis. We're going to take Sis, and I'm just going to do the same thing over here. And it's a softer shimmer, like this. Okay. And so we're just going to push these over. And if you ever feel like you need more punch, we're going to go to that top layer. We're going to go to this balm here. And I'm going to tap that right in the middle. I like to do it in the middle, not the inner corner. I don't like a lot of shimmer on my inner corner because it can make my eyes look gunky and gunky. Okay, so I'm going to go back into that shimmer I was just touching and tap over that balm, and it can jazz it up. This is a really finely milled shimmer, but it just punches it up just a little bit. But it's whatever you want to do. I'm going to add to the top of Paris here just because I want to match. And I kept it nice and light. Okay, I've been skipping waterlining. We don't need to be zoomed in anymore. I've been skipping waterlining because a lot of people don't. And I want to show that it's okay to skip it. I really like either using a powder, or if I want longevity out of my makeup for the day, say it's an event, I'm kind of doing like a low-key event look. And I just need to blend this a little. It's bugging me. Okay, I use the Stila Say All Day. Do not get the magic wand. There is a link for the one I recommend in the description on this video. I try to link as much as I can, but this is Stila Stay All Day. It is waterproof. So if you have an event where you think you might cry, I cry not often. I don't like to cry. I am not a crier. If you see me crying, there's a real problem. But sometimes I do get very anxious when I speak publicly and I cry. I'm like, I'm not sad. I just can't stop. Anyways, okay. Okay, so we're gonna take the Stila. I like it because it has this really nice small felt tip. Okay, we're gonna take a tiny little palette. I use a lot of these little palette twos, and they're so stinking good. And you can get this one in a collection right now with some really pretty shadows. Okay, we're gonna take a tiny little palette. We're gonna take this little felt tip, and I am gonna go all the way across, which I don't always do. But with this I am, because I'm not waterlining. Okay. And I'm going to start from this inner corner, and because this is so little, you go just above your lash line. Don't touch your lash line. It'll get jaggedy and janky, and then you're trying to fix that. And instead of trying to fix that, I'll show you next. It's hard not being able to zoom in, but you want that gap between your lashes and the line you make. You want to go just a touch, not even a millimeter, just a touch, so that the lashes that are growing aren't bumping your liner. And then when you hit the mid of your lid, you're going to go straight out. You're going to go straight out, and you want to stop when your lashes stop. Okay, the eyeshadow, yeah, I missed the very beginning. The eyeshadow is Paris, Pup, and Leo. No, but Leo, of course, yes, you are right. I have pomegranate right here. I put a little bit of Pup on top of this one, not this one. And so it just tones it down a little bit. Okay. Okay, so we're going to take this, and now that we've stopped right at that lash line, I'm going to go to where my last lash of so I'm 44. My lashes are thin. It is what it is. And I'm going to do my mascara and make it look better. But anyways, when you have your fullness of your lashes, when they stop, because you'll get like a couple sparse ones in the inner corner and the outer corner, stop where those lashes stop. You want to go from there and just go up and meet the point, but you want it to be up and down, because when you rest your face, that skin moves outward, and so it will look like a wing. I like a tiny but mighty wing. I talk about this all the time. Now that I have my line, then I color my picture, and so then we're going to go in and we can start filling in under the line and meeting that lash line. And this works like a stamp, and you just bring it downward. Okay, you're just filling in between the lashes and the line you drew, instead of working your way up, because then you'll end up with a really thick eyeliner. And this gives you a nice definition, but because we drew straight out like this, when we rested, it then takes that natural arch and up. And if you want to make it more wingy, this is where you can make it a little more wingy if you want. And remember, a little can be a lot. It's like taking that one rogue eyebrow hair out that changes your whole dang eyebrow and you didn't even know. All right, so starting on that inner corner and going above the lashes and going around, hitting the middle and going straight out, grabbing that last lash and going straight up. And then they meet and they say, hi, let's be friends. And then you color it in. Liner will always look different. They're sisters, not twins, but they shouldn't be cousins. And we're just filling in, stamping across, and then you can look at them and you can see which one needs to go higher or longer, and that's where you can start touching up everywhere else. Boom. Nobody's looking that close at your makeup to be like, wow, she really jacked up that liner if it's the tiniest difference. Okay, we're gonna go into our mascara. I get real nitty gritty with the way I apply my mascara. Real nitty gritty. And then we'll peel this mess off. Let's see, I can't even remember what the bristles on this look like. I am picky about my bristles. I'm not in love with silicone brushes on my mascara. I'm not. I do prefer this kind of bristle. I want it to look like a brush. I want it to hold the stuff. Okay, so we're gonna grab this, but my biggest rule, I like this because it has this little dome end. This is gonna come in handy, but wipe off that tip. You don't want it to be super gunky. All right, so when you do this, you wanna have a mirror where you're holding it down so that you're looking down. If you're gonna get transfer up on your brow. I have a prominent brow bone, and so I can easily hit it. If you have hooded eyes, you can easily hit it. So you wanna look in a downward angle and hold that mirror so you can see it. You're gonna get that the brush, and you're gonna go right underneath to the base. And if you hit your eyeball and you blink and it gets all under here, we didn't do our makeup yet. So we're not messing up our makeup, but let it dry. It's easier to remove once it's dry. Sometimes it makes your eyeliner better. Anyway, we're gonna wedge this into the base, wiggle, 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 and then we're gonna lift. We're gonna wiggle, 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 and we're gonna lift. And this is gonna give the illusion of fuller lashes. I prefer fullness over length. I don't like tubing mascara. I don't like to accentuate the sparseness of my lashes because they're pretty sparse. All right, so we're gonna wiggle, 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 lift. wiggle, 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 lift, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. That's it. And having this little dome end is actually pretty nice to get on this outer corner. I like to really build up product on the outer half of my lashes because it's going to give my eye lift. And by adding that extra thickness of the liner on the outside also gives your eye lift. And when you're of an age, I'm too old to be young and I'm too young to be old. Fried green tomatoes in my life here. I'm not allowed to call myself mature because then the mature people get mad, and I'm not allowed to call myself young because then the young people get mad. So, fried green tomatoes. All right, we're gonna just wiggle this at the base, and you wanna let it get tacky, not dry. Once it gets dry, you can't build. You're just gonna end up creating chunks. So as it tacks, you're just building on top. Remember the fiber mascara where you'd put that coat on and then you would add fibers to the tips and then you'd add mascara to build length on the tips? We're building width on the base by just wiggling our lashes into those bristles and pulling upward. If you wiggle them in and then pull them off, you're gonna get chunks and then they're gonna look like tarantula eyes. And that's why you also don't wanna do this method once it dries. And you can tell when that's happening. Then we're gonna reload by wiggling this around and then we clean off the end. And then you can take that tackiness and build length by just combing down and combing up on the tips. Not on the last half, but do you see the length I've added, but also the fullness and the lift I've given my eye with just mascara. I added that lift with the eyeliner, but I've also added lift to my eye with my mascara. And I use Babe Lash Lash Serum. Yes, there's a link in the description, and it's easy. This is easy. You don't have to glue lashes on. It's good. It's a good, I think natural's coming back, which is nice. Okay, reloading, cleaning off the end. New mascara, man, that always has a lot. Okay, we're gonna wiggle and pull, wiggle and pull. And we're gonna just try to do this a little faster because I always take such a long time. I think my eyes take the longest of my face, but I also over-explain everything. I prefer to teach. I did just blink some down there. Okay, so we're gonna build, build, build. I blinked and now I like to be zoomed in. Get with it on a Monday Live. This needs to dry. And this works if you do your makeup if you do your mascara at the end when your makeup's on and you do this, let it dry. Let it dry, let it dry. Okay, so we're just gonna wiggle and we're gonna give that lift. We're gonna give that fullness. I prefer on my maturing eyes to have fullness. I want them to look fuller than they are. I just think it's really pretty. And then we can comb down and build up on the top and then comb up and just make sure you're getting any clumps that are building up out. My right eye always looks fuller than my left, but oh, so good. Look at that length. This is a good one. I think I still prefer FanFest. Okay. So now that this is all nice and dry, okay, let's see here. I've seen people using brown eyeliner, brown mascara. I've tried it and it's just not enough for me. So we're gonna take a spoolie and then you can just go down here and you can chip it off. So if you've done your makeup first and you've done this same little thing, once it dries, it just chips off and it's a lot easier. But if there's anything left over, we're gonna do our makeup now and then we get to clean it up. Okay. I am at I've heard that the 40s are a great era and I am enjoying it. I am enjoying it. But let's zoom back out. Okay, so our eyes are on. I'm gonna do my brows last. I always mess them up. I could also just do them after my forehead because I'm really good at doing my forehead, but I also don't wanna be zoomed in when I peel because, you know. So now we're gonna take, is it called Shiseido? Shishu? I don't know. These guys are very popular right now. If there's not a link, I will go in and add a link after this live. All right, so then you just smile and it cracks off the stain. I mean, this has been on for a good amount of time. Okay, and then you could just grab it and it just peels off. Peels off and it's really satisfying. It reminds me of when you peel off Biore strips almost. Okay. Nude is a nice light color. I just got to buff off any chips. Okay. Because, Lips are gross, okay, guys? I think they are. But this just adds a really nice touch of tint, okay? And then I can go in if I want, and I will, just because I want to show. I'm going to take Coraled, and I'm going to fill in right here, okay? We're not going to be super tidy, but we are going to fill in right here inside of that liner I put on with the nude. I'm not putting it on top of the nude. I'm filling it in, okay? They don't have a funny smell or anything like that. But now my lips look super tiny. Anyways, we're gonna let this dry. I'm gonna put a few things on and then we're gonna peel this off. I do find that coral takes a little longer and a little more work to peel off than the other ones, but I also don't put it on as thick. Okay, I use Milk Hydro Grip. I also really like, oh God, it's back there on the chair. I like using setting sprays. I've been using the Professionals and it's been really good. If you like to try, if you want to try new things, get travel sizes, okay? Try the travel sizes. Okay, I need, I look lovely for being in my 40s. That's all. There's two ways. Here's how I like to apply my setting spray if I'm going to use it as a primer. If I'm trying to save space in my bag. Now, there's Saint makeup bags that are on sale 50% off, and they're really great bags. But if I'm saving space, one, I always get a travel size if I'm traveling. It's worth it. And then you could just refill the bottles with the full sizes. I do that with my hair products. But take a brush like a wash brush. Okay? We're going to take, where is one? I have one specific for this, and I think it's this one. Okay, you're going to take a wash brush. They're 50% off right now. They're silver. They're great. And I only use them for this, but you spray a little mist onto the brush. This has a really great fine mist. And then you can just go through and you can paint your setting spray on, and you get more product on your face than if you spray, because it just kind of goes everywhere around your face too. But spraying the brush, this is going to help you get cleanup, get into your creases, but get that under eye last, because it's not going to be super wet, but this will help clean up any fallout from your eyeshadow because it's a little bit damp. And so you're able to do that, and you're able to get this everywhere. This is a great, I don't want to say I prefer it over the Milk Hydro Grip. I like the Milk Hydro Grip. It's an amazing product, but sometimes your setting sprays work really great, especially in the summer when it's hot. Okay, the 3-second setting spray with L'Oreal. See, I always find L'Oreal makes me really greasy, but I will give it another shot. I do want to try some, I do want to do a full drugstore brand picks. That takes a lot of time because I got to try them and like them. I got to try them and like them. All right, so I've got this on. My brush is now dry, but it helps clean everything up and it gives you a great base to start with, okay? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a shape brush, the silver shape brush. It's on sale and it will go away when they sell out. It's not part of the last chance sale. It is its own sale because they're phasing it out. This is the shape of it. This is a black one. Get the silver one. It's this one right here. And as you use them, they fluff out a little bit more. But now we're going to go into my correctors here on my top layer. So again, remember my whole face is right here. My lips and cheeks are right here. Now these two top layers are all foundational coverage, all 80% pigmentation and $16. Okay, I want you to remember that just because I think that the bronzer may be $18. You're not going to get 80% pigmentation at this price together. You can't find anything else that's that price together. You're going to have less pigmentation. And that's why makeup on some people looks really thick. And it's because they're having to put more on to get the coverage, but you're making a trade-off. The more makeup you have layered on, the more texture you're going to have. You can put too much of this on. You'll look like a birthday cake. That was me. Getting used to the makeup is hard, but I'm going to go in on the big end. I'm going to go into this contour color Aspen. It's the color of concrete. It's gray. And my method was, I'm going to try this because I have a touch of rosacea, but I also have scarring and it's red. And I want it to not pull and grab my pinks that I like to wear as my blushes. So I need to mute them, not cover them. Because again, Remembering the more product you want, you're making a trade-off. You get all the coverage, but now you've got all the texture. Texture is texture. You can add texture, you can accentuate the texture, or you can enhance the texture of your skin to work for you rather than against you. And that's just how it is. If you have really deep rosacea, you can lightly mute this and add your color and let your rosacea be your blush. It's really easy. You just got to play with your makeup. So I'm going to take that gray color that's on my brush and I am going to lightly be zoomed in. I have nice pores here. I'm going to take this red and I'm going to mute it. We're still going to see the color, but it's muted down. We're going to see the color, but the red is muted. Taking that gray color and just dulling my face out. Did anybody ever watch Pleasantville when they started turning colors and then they started using gray makeup? It's like that, but with less gray, but all we're doing is reducing the red. So redness here, you just sweep this over, reduce the red. So if you have a really ragey breakout that's very red, sweep a little gray over it. And we still see the stuff. Correcting isn't covering, and knowing the difference. Correcting isn't covering. We're gonna make a mess to clean a mess. I'm looking a little rough right now. But we took that, and that's all I need for my aspen. That's it. Okay, the next color down, I'm staying zoomed in because I want you to see I'm not adding a creamy texture. My pores are still here. My skin still looks like my skin in all its glory. Okay, I've got fine lines, I've got crow's feet, I got stuff, I got happiness showing on my face. Okay, and now, and if there's anything I've learned over this weekend is I am 44 and not everybody gets to be 44 because my friend did not get to be 44. And so enjoy it, complain about it, at least you get to complain about it. Okay, so we're gonna take suede, the next color, and we're gonna let our skin be our skin. Suede is a lip liner and it is on sale. 50% off, it is a last chance item. It will go away after July and you won't be able to get it anymore. So get it while the getting's good. This color works with hyperpigmentation. So we're gonna grab that suede. These two colors are dense, so they're gonna hold where you put them and they're gonna hold your makeup on. I'm gonna take my hyperpigmentation and I have it growing, like look at this. This is a new little spot coming in. And it is what it is, it's summer, what are you gonna do? All right, so we're gonna take these spots and instead of trying to fix this, we're gonna hide it by turning our skin a similar color. Okay, staying on that cheek, you see that natural shadow. I don't need to bring it down here. You go around and we're gonna bring it up. And we're just going to help our skin match the tone of the discoloration. This is a high traffic area. High traffic, there is contour, there's bronzer, there's blush, there's foundation. So we are going to hide it, okay? So we're gonna grab that color again. And these melt. If they start looking a little crappy, which mine are, you can take them to the stove. I'm gonna make a reel about it. I make them all the time. And you just put it on the stove on simmer. You can, if you have a glass top, put it on the glass top. If not, you can go and get a little pan and set it on the pan, set it on simmer and low and slow it. Take a little toothpick, one toothpick per color, and swirl around. It's gonna pick up all kinds of gunk. It's gross and it's satisfying. Anyways, you're gonna do that and then pull it off the heat and it resets brand new. Looks great. So after this, I'll probably do that. All right, I have a little bit of hyperpigmentation on this side, not as much, but for balance, I'm gonna be turning my skin the same color as this guy and this stuff up here. And so we are going to sweep this around and I grab as I need. Grabbing as you need and just turning your skin a slight shade darker to hide that hyperpigmentation. But this is also a great base for your makeup. My hair is a mess. This is day 2 hair. With naturally curly hair, there is no day 2 hair anywhere. I don't even know what the back looks like, but I'm sure it isn't good. Anyways, all right, we are going to do our under eyes and then I'm gonna peel my lips off and then they're done until the end. Okay, anyways, this top is not my favorite. Had to try it, don't like it. Okay, we're gonna go into the balm because like I've said before, the balm is the bomb. I used it on my lids to punch up my shimmer. Now I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna use this under my eyes. We're gonna zoom in again and not as crazy, but we're gonna go under, we have this trough. I have my smile lines. Let's go back in. Okay, I've got my lines coming in. They're coming in, okay guys? I know they're not crazy. They're coming in, okay? But I also have a trough And I have, this is a soft tissue. It's gonna look like soft tissue, so the wrong products are gonna crepe that skin. It doesn't always have to be crepey, but you can make it crepey. So we're gonna take the balm, and then we're gonna push this on that soft tissue. I'm gonna go up into my inner corner, and I'm gonna go out. This is gonna help with creasing. My lid won't crease on that shimmer with that balm, okay? And so we're gonna go down and around. And I don't use beauty filters. I get really bothered when I see people talking about correcting stuff and they got a stinking filter on, and it makes me so mad. I immediately go to comments to see if anybody else saw the filter. I grab my popcorn and go to the comments. And so same over here. This balm, if that sweeping of the setting spray didn't clean up any of that fallout of the eyeshadow or the over blending, this will too. Okay, it's kind of like at night when you wash your face and there's mascara under, so you let your moisturizer clean it up too. You guys do that, right? Okay, the next color I'm going to go into is this one. So I had my Aspen on my gray. Sorry, the reflection is... all right, Aspen for the gray, Suede for the hyperpigmentation, and this is Daylily, 50% off also. I like it mainly for the winter. I use it in the spring. Once I hit my summer color, I will change the color. This is so pretty though. And again, 50% off. I use the heck out of it. We're gonna put it on our finger, and we're gonna tap this on that soft tissue. We're gonna mix it into that balm, and it's gonna cancel that darkness. That darkness just got canceled. You're still gonna see a shade of peach, but that's it, okay? Yes, Dwayne, I sell makeup. That's why I'm playing with makeup. All right, so we're gonna take this, but I also teach technique. I always say, you don't have to use Saint. You can take the techniques and the placements of things and use it. I do it all the time with other makeup influencers. All right, so we're taking that Daylily, mixing it with that balm I laid down, and now I'm canceling out that darkness, okay? And it's on that soft tissue, and I'm just pressing it into that balm, and it makes it better. And then I have, this is a great starting point. So if you don't have the stuff I have, omit all of this. You don't have to do it. All right, so, oh, my feet are falling asleep. Okay, so we're gonna zoom out a little because I'm gonna take this peachy color, this coral color off. I do find it to be a little harder to get an edge on, but I also put it on pretty thin. So we're just gonna take this off, and it leaves a nice little pinky blushing to the lip. And so we're just gonna find a place to grab, there we go. And you just peel it right off. Very satisfying. I don't recommend doing that zoomed in or, you know, okay. Okay, there we go. I do not airbrush my makeup on, no. That is a art form I do not have. I've seen people that do it. Okay, so that's the lip. It's very natural. If it's more work than you want to do, don't do it. I always say, take what you want, leave what you don't. Makeup is extremely personal to you. This room is a disaster, so I'm trying to crop stuff out. Makeup is so personal. And our makeup is for us. It's not for anybody else. I always tell my husband, I'm like, taking this wife away and I'm bringing in the other one, and I wash my makeup off. My makeup gets me in the door. It's like an interview. Put your best face forward, and then you've got to work to keep your job. My makeup gets me in the door. My sparkling personality keeps me with my husband, and we've been together for 15 years, so I'm a delight. I even have a shirt that says that. It says, first of all, I'm a delight. It's great. Anyway, all right, so now we can go in and we can just do our makeup and not give a hoo-ha, okay? And that's where I get into my highlights here. Because I have that stuff on my cheek, I'm gonna use these two colors. I don't know if I'm gonna use this one. This one's really light, and if you go too light, you can enhance texture. Too light will enhance texture. All right, I'm gonna use, what kind of brush do I wanna use? My brushes are all very dirty. They need a little bit of work. The denser the brush, the more product you're gonna put on, so you gotta decide, what do you want out of your makeup? Do you want full coverage? Because what's nice about, I'm not gonna zoom out. I'm not gonna zoom out because I want you to see my skin. And so if you want somebody who's gonna be zoomed out and filtered, there are people for that. I stay zoomed in because I want you to see my skin. When you're using products like this, if you're going to put there's all sorts of things. You can always add texture to your skin, okay? So we're gonna get into a brush. I'm gonna use a medium coverage brush. I'm gonna use This is the Pilot brush, but it is the 3D brush. We're gonna stay on this little short end here. I'm gonna go into my darker shade. This is Hazel, that is my summer color. I'm gonna use it as a camo color because I like when I can use my colors all year round. Okay, I'm going to, you can swipe on, that's okay. I'm not for everyone. I have my scarring up here that we can see, but I just muted the red. And so now I can take it and I can take this darker shade and I'm gonna go over it and it's gonna cover. You never wanna cover a problem with a light color or a skin tone color because it's just gonna pop through. So you want it to be a touch darker. That's the only place I'm gonna put this color. You don't need to be taking foundation and turning your whole face one color. My whole face isn't one color, all right? And so, okay, it does look like a lot of work, but anything done should be done well. And if I wanted to be, I can be quick, but I also talk a lot. But maybe I should do this. We're gonna start over here. I'm gonna talk my way through it, and then I'm gonna go slam it on over here so you can see that it's not as much work. It seems like it because I talk about my whys. And when you talk, everything sound, you can make anything sound like a lot of work. You can make a sandwich sound like a lot of work. I'm gonna go into the next shade down, which is June. This works really well with redness, and I'm gonna tap once into that top color, and I'm gonna balance. This is gonna balance out my skin down here, and then I'm gonna stipple this up into that top color, bringing it in and around my nose and around my mouth here. And that's all I need for a main foundation color is right here. Everything in here is your foundation. And so you just need to balance this lower part of your face because this doesn't take bronzer, this doesn't take blush or anything. I'm gonna sweep what's left on my brush down my neck. And now I just have balance. See how it just gives that balance? I'm gonna go to my contour. This is Cedar. I'm gonna go into that color and we are gonna push this up top. This is where you have natural shadowing on your face from the shape of your skull. We're not flat, all right? And so we're just gonna put this on and we're enhancing our natural shadowing and we're gonna add some lift. And I like to add some slimness. Anyways, I don't know where this is getting interesting, but you can stay, you can go. I'm not making anybody be here, but we're gonna take this contour again. You see this natural shadow right here? This is where we're able to give ourselves some lift. I'm gonna put this on like a bronzer. So I'm gonna go on top of my cheekbone instead of into the hollow. I'm gonna smile so I can see, as you get older, you lose the volume in your cheeks, so smile so you can see where they are. And we're gonna be able to live outside of this outer corner. There's rules, your face tells you where everything goes. And so I'm just putting this on and it just enhances the cheek just a little, gives some structure. I'm gonna go right here in front of my earlobe and then down my jaw. And that just gives it a little slimness if I want it. And then I bring it down. And this is how I do things, and it can go on very quickly when you want it to, okay? If you want bronzer, you can bronze. You just take a little bit, and all you need to do is add it right here, and then add it right on that cheekbone right there. Put a big old C mark around your eye. And it just can add a touch of warmth. Again, your face to do what you want with it, okay? For my nose, this is easy. I just use my ring finger. Your ring finger is your weakest finger. It also chips a lot. Anyways, we're gonna draw 2 lines on the top sides of the nose. You already have a natural shadow there. And then I square the tip off, and this just gives it a little slimness. You take your brush, and you're gonna stamp it around and bring it together. This is really nice if you have a crooked nose, if you have a bumpy nose, this can help do that. And I always bridge together right here because I do have a bump. All right, and so you just tap that on, blend it down. I'm gonna take this middle color here with my pinky, put a little bit on, and then you're gonna just sweep down the middle. I like using a finger, it gives you a little bit more control and it won't push it too far out. And then you just tap it in and you have a nice contoured nose. It all comes together. In the end, I'm gonna switch to the pointy end here. We're gonna add that middle color. Again, I don't think I'm gonna use this. It's just a little too light for my skin at this point. So we're gonna put that right here. This color should look like a lot because it is too light for my skin. And this is, all it's doing is the way our contour mimics a shadow. This color that's too light for my skin is going to look like reflecting light. And so we're just gonna press this outward and upward just like that. We're gonna pull this to that contour, blend it downward into that nose. Nothing is hard if you practice. It's very easy to wash off. Okay, so we're gonna take that color again. I'm just gonna hit my Cupid's bow on this side because again, I'm doing one side at a time so we can see that it's not that hard. Nothing's hard once you practice. I do my under eyes last just because my blush can sometimes get a little out of hand. I'm gonna take that Daylily. This is why I get a lot of questions about Demi, which is a corrector color. I don't like Demi as much because it only does one thing. And like a kitchen, you should have something that does more than one thing. So I took the color that's under my eyes correcting, and now I'm gonna go over my smile. I'm gonna put this on as my blush. And this is gonna give me added coverage for my stuff. Remember that stuff I had at the beginning? It's gone. It's gone, okay? I'm gonna go to the second layer into my pinks here. I'm gonna go into this pink right smack here. We're just gonna pick up a little bit. 80% pigmentation, I'm gonna go up top. I like to add this up here, and then we can just tap it down into the apples, and it adds just a little flushness. I'm gonna put a little bit right there. I like adding a little pink to the bridge in those. It gives that warm, sunny look. Okay. Anyways, I don't mind if people comment. I prefer commenting. Because then I know I make small form videos throughout the week, and our conversations here lead to the videos that come out during the week. All right, this is that, let's see. This is a blend brush. It's a great light coverage brush. We're gonna go to the small end, and I'm gonna go to that middle color again. And do you see the natural shine under my eye here? That's your starting point. And you just come up because this is a hammock. You got your orbital bone, you got your eyeball, and then you got your hammock. It's soft tissue. And so what you can easily do is accentuate the fine lines. You can cause creasing by too much makeup. Your under eyes should have a very light amount of makeup on. And so we're gonna take this color, we're gonna start where the natural shine is because that's what we're mimicking. And then we're gonna come up that orbital bone in an upward motion. We can clean up this eyeshadow here to add lift. And then it's gonna make that eyeshadow look even better. And then we're gonna come up that inner corner along the side of the nose. We're gonna get that darkness, that corrector covered. Then the last thing we do is bring all that lightness lightly up under the eye. Just like that. And your skin is still skinning. Now my texture of my skin, because skin is a texture, this texture of my skin is looking like I have an illuminator on. I don't put shimmer on my face because the texture of my skin is going to illuminate using a cream makeup. Creams work best with maturing or mature skin. Okay. This is why women do makeup. Okay, I'm gonna whip this on because Dwayne here said this looks like a lot of work. So I'm just gonna go in, I'm gonna tap in, and we're just gonna give ourselves some coverage. And this is as quickly as I usually do my makeup. This is how easy this actually is. And without all of the explaining, you can just tap it around and it's as easy as that. We just give ourselves some coverage and it all works together. It's not that hard. It just looks hard because you haven't done it yet. That's like any job. You ever start a job and they're like, does this look intimidating? And the answer should always be in an interview, and it's a good answer, is only because I don't know it yet. All you have to do is take a minute to learn it and do it, and you're set. Makeup is easy. Your makeup can be done in 10 minutes. It's really not that hard. It just takes finding a way that makes you feel your best. My way isn't in every way. Again, take what you don't, leave the rest. It's entirely up to you on how you want your final product to look on your makeup. It's that simple. I did this in, I don't know, a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes, whereas this side took so much longer. You know, I've had people have their husbands do their makeup. I'm done. Not that hard. Done. The face is not that hard. It only means it's a lot of explaining. But I like to over-explain things. I feel like some things are just not explained enough. So we're gonna take that brush we used at the beginning with the setting spray. We're gonna spray that brush again, and we're gonna set this. And again, I really like doing this the most because this is gonna give everything a little extra. marrying together. Also, because these are creams, they don't pick up the way it would if you were to do anything else. Also, remember when you're on your phone, it touches your face. So be sure you're setting in that phone zone because yeah, that's what's gonna happen. Boom, boom, boom. All right, I'm gonna take a powder. I like blotting dust. I need to get a new one. I use the heck out of my blotting dust. The difference is it has a little sheen to it and it creates less texture. And I have really oily skin. And so with my oily skin, I need to set it. And so I'm just gonna start in my low texture zones and bring it in. But using this isn't going to completely erase any of that luminous texture my skin leaves. But if you see a girl walk up and her makeup is super cakey and doesn't look that great, she's gonna look more high maintenance. Do you ever think that? Dwayne, that's a question for you. If you see a girl that has like what looks like a pound of makeup on, wouldn't you think she's a little bit high maintenance? Whereas if a girl just has nice looking makeup, she just has nice looking makeup. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I feel like I look like I got my ish together if my makeup looks nice. I don't know. Okay, let's pop on a little bit of brow. I use eyeshadow. I can use two. I mainly use this one right here. And then we're gonna grab this and I am going to really structure the crap out of my brows. So we're just gonna pop a lower line on and we're gonna bring this up and over following the natural shape of our brow. My brow stops here. I'm gonna grab it outward more and this is gonna add some length and lift. On this inner corner, I'm gonna bring it in about 2 millimeters and they make a difference. Dwayne knows a millimeter and it can make a difference. Anyways, we're gonna take that color, we're gonna come a quarter of the way in and we're gonna give a nice structured top line. I overplucked back in the 90s because Pamela Anderson was queen of Baywatch and my dad thought she was great. So I was like, well, that's what women are supposed to look like. My mom overplucked her brows too. And so that's what it is. All right, so we're just gonna pop on this nice natural shaped line on top. And then we just go in and we're gonna blend in those 2 lines. The one I drew on the bottom, we're gonna blend it inward. The one on the top, we're gonna bring that in also and fill in the gaps. You're gonna grab your bristle brush that we use to chip off any mascara. We're gonna comb that up. It's gonna pick up excess and just blend together. That's a good looking brow. My brows looked fine, but that looks a lot nicer. Okay, I think it does anyways. I like my brows. I like my brows, don't yuck my yum. Okay, so we are going to start on that inner corner, draw that hard line up and over, and then outward. And then we're gonna go right over here, do the same thing, and go up and over. Once you know where your placement is on your eyeshadow, on your brows, on your liner, everything goes on nice and easy. And then we just start filling it in. Once you know your placement and you like it, it's all about changing colors in and out. Okay. The thing is if you have thick eyebrows, those are so much easier to shape when you have the right person. I don't have super thick eyebrows, but I wish I did. That's why I draw mine on. All right. Like Pamela Anderson, she had the best makeup, man. I love dark lining my lips and all that. Okay, now I'm gonna go in and here's the thing I like, it's 25 bucks. Tom Ford is $40 for this and it's great. And I'm gonna use it all on its own because I did my lip stain. Let's contour. I'm gonna add a little contour. Let's really mess with Dwayne. We're gonna mess with Dwayne now. I am going to take we're taking that 3D brush. We're going to take the pointy end. We're going to pinch it so it's a line. We're going to go into that contour and we're going to go under our lips. Elvira makeup, Dwayne. We're going to outer line the top and the bottom, but we're going to make it not look like we just outer lined. You know where they take that hard? I need to do a video on that. We're gonna buff that shadow down and it's gonna make our lips look a little bit fuller. Look at how nice that looks. You can even let's go to that really light color and I'm gonna go right here. Okay, we're just gonna add a little brightness I've seen celebrities do this and their makeup people did not blend well. Anyways, we're going to take that color and it just added a touch of shadow. Nothing, I was just teaching my daughter about makeup yesterday because I was letting her wear some makeup to the bridal shower. And I said, makeup doesn't have to be bold to be important. It can be light and impactful. As long as you feel good, that's it. But there's a time and a place for everything. There is a time and a place for Elvira. But there is a time and a place where Elvira stays home. Okay, so we're going to take this color. This is sheer and this is pretty all on its own. I used this all weekend. When my friend came after crying from the service, I gave her an Olive and then I handed her this. My mother-in-law, who wears no makeup, wears this. This is a great lipstick. It's sheer, it's sparkly. It's called Diamonds Are Forever. It's $25. Tom Ford is $40, okay? So we're going to take this color. I'm almost out. And we're just going to put this on its own. And it has a touch of shimmer to it. And it's going to highlight that beautiful Cupid's bow all by itself. And having this with you all the time, I find this to be pretty darn affordable. Because again, Tom Ford is $40 for this. And it's hydrating. It doesn't have that gritty feel, but it has that shimmer. And do you see how pretty this is all on its own? You don't have to take this long to do makeup. But if you're hanging out with your girlfriends and talking a long time, you will. But if you're sitting alone in a room, my makeup is done in under 15 minutes. This whole face, the liner, the eyeshadow, everything, 15 minutes. I just bang it on. It's super easy. But here, Monday, 8:30, every Monday Pacific time, I am here telling the hows and the whys and the why nots. And I do feel like your face is... Oh, I don't think that that's true. I think that this person is fake. Okay. But anyways, I really like finding makeup that makes you feel your best. And I don't do super crazy bold. And so what I do is I try to get on here on just Mondays and really talk it through and really share my whys and hows. And so, let's see. Chunky girlfriend burping. I don't know what that means. Anyways, that's it. That's my life. My live on Mondays are always long. They're always going to be long. And it's because I want to tell my why on why I do the things that I do. And sometimes I do go super crazy bold. I've done some smoky eyes, doing gradient. Maybe I'll do the gradient look again because it is a great smoky eye for maturing lids. And I like doing that. But that's this Monday's live. I'm going to do some breakdown videos throughout the week. And I hope you have a great day.